Good afternoon. Welcome to the session. We'd like the team members to introduce themselves, and then the panel we will introduce ourselves.
Hello, my name is George, and today we will be discussing the philosophical and historical origins of the Constitution.
Good afternoon, my name is Leah.
Hi, my name is Amelia. Thank you for the opportunity to be here.
Greetings, my name is Piper. Good afternoon, my name is Kate.
Hello, my name is Jonathan, and we'd like to thank our principal, Peyton Chapman, our coach, Stephen Griffith, our teacher, George Tenike, and we'd also like to thank you judges for being here today.
Thank you, panel.
My name is Deanne Darling, and I'm a circuit court judge for Clackamas County, and was a law student of brand new Professor Cantor, who's going to introduce himself in a minute if there's anything left to say.
But first,
My name is Samuel Henry. I'm a professor at Portland State University and also on the State Board of Education.
and I'm Steve Cantor. I'll be chairing today. I'm not such a new professor anymore, but I do teach law at Wilson Clark Law School. So our question for you today is as follows. In just 1,337 words, the Declaration of Independence altered the course of history. Written in 1776, it is the most profound document in the history of government since the Magna Carta. What, if anything, do you think is profound about the Declaration? The Declaration claims that some rights are unalienable. What does this mean, and do you agree with this idea? Why or why not? Under what circumstances does the Declaration justify a right of revolution? Do you agree with this justification? Why or why not? You may proceed.
The Declaration of Independence is profound for three reasons. It argues for the existence of natural rights, it creates a new nation, and it risks the lives of those who signed it.
The world has many rights. People create rights when they enter into a contract, when they pass laws, and when they ratify constitutions. All of these rights, however, are man-made. The Declaration asserts that all people are endowed by a creator with certain natural rights that are not man-made. This is a profound idea.
Change in history is usually gradual, but on rare occasions, history breaks. The Declaration was a breakpoint in history because it created a new nation. By dissolving the bands that tied them to England, the colonists took control over their own lives. Their act of self-emancipation opened a future filled with endless possibilities. That was a profound moment.
Additionally, the Declaration was an act of treason. Under the Treason Act of 1351, the punishment was to lose your head or to have your heart ripped out. In signing the Declaration, the colonists were signing their death sentence. They were risking their lives, fortunes, and sacred honor. That is a profound act.
Natural rights are rights all people everywhere are born with. Unalienable rights are rights which should never be forfeited. The Declaration claims that some rights are both natural and unalienable. We believe that some rights should never be lost, but not the ones Thomas Jefferson mentions.
The right to life is alienable. While people disagree about whether to impose the death penalty after a crime, we believe it isn't wrong to kill someone who's about to kill you. Self-defense has been an excuse in the common law of homicide since 1313. John Locke, the father of natural rights, agreed in his second treatise of government.
The right to the pursuit of happiness is part of the right to liberty, and the right to liberty is also alienable. It is not immoral to confine a person in prison who has robbed a bank. It is not wrong to tax or regulate property for the common good, which Locke also approved in the second treatise.
The Due Process Clause puts it best. Life, liberty, and property belong to every person, but the right to them may be limited or lost.
The only unalienable right, in our opinion, is the right to think and believe. Thinking is what makes us human. Thinking hurts no one until it leads to conduct. Technology may someday be able to read our minds, but thought police should stay in novels like 1984.
The Declaration justifies a right of revolution when the government fails to protect the people's natural rights. A classic Enlightenment idea. People form government to protect their rights. If government fails to do the job, they can alter or abolish it. We agree with popular sovereignty, but think the argument for revolution is too simple.
Not all governments are meant to protect natural rights, for example. The purpose of government in ancient Athens was to allow the exercise of political rights. The purpose of government in Sweden is to fulfill positive rights. Athenians and Swedes would revolt for reasons different from the Americans in 1776.
Hypocrisy can undercut the right of revolution. The domestic insurrections, which the Declaration says King George incited, were slave revolts. Americans fought for freedom so they could deny it to others.
The likelihood of success should also be considered. Civil disobedience in India brought an end to British rule partly because of British values. Civil disobedience in the Soviet Union under Stalin was pointless.
Finally, natural rights are not consistent. Life and liberty cannot both be maximized, as the debate over abortion proves. Equality and liberty are inconsistent, as affirmative action shows. The real challenge of government, and for revolutionaries, is to be honest about the trade-offs between our deepest values. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to start with the first question. As you know, much of the Declaration is taken up with a list of specific grievances against King George. And I'm wondering, why do you think that is the case?
One of the main reasons that this is the case is because all these grievances originate from basic English Bill of Rights. For example, the Petition of Rights, the Magna Carta. One example that was cited in the Declaration of Independence is that it accused the king for depriving us the many benefits of trial by jury. This is illustrated in Chapter 39 of the Magna Carta, which states that no one shall be deceived except by the lawful judgment of his peers or by the law of the land.
Additionally, by having a long list of grievances, Thomas Jefferson was proving that there had been a long train of abuses. And this is one of the qualifications behind the right of revolution, in which it must be a lot of their rights being violated.
Thank you. Samuel, we'll ask the next question.
In what ways, if any, did the Declaration of Independence alter the course of history for women and people of color?
The Declaration of Sentiments, which was written in 1848, was a product of the Seneca Falls Convention, in which men and women came together to fight for women's rights. And in this, they used basically the outline of the Declaration and changed small wordings, such as all men and women are equal.
Additionally, in Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech in 1963, he cites the Declaration exactly, that all men are created equal. And he states that we have a check of equality, and we are turning in that check to allow African Americans equality in the United States.
Good.
Recently, a scholar wrote that all students should be required to read the Declaration from start to finish before they leave high school. Why?
Many of the issues in the Declaration of Independence are very apparent today. One of the colonists' grievances was that the king was rendering the military independent of and superior to the civil power. And because the civil power generally rests with Congress, the president has been taking a lot of the civil power through unilateral military action, as we can see in Yemen and Syrian airstrikes. Additionally, although the president is a civilian himself, a lot of his military action is dependent on the intelligence that he receives from the military, which we can see through Afghanistan and Iraq is not always reliable.
Additionally, the Declaration states this self-evident truth that all men are created equal. However, in the case Fisher versus the University of Texas, which the Supreme Court is looking at right now, it's wondering if whether having different boundaries between people of different races, when being accepted in college is acceptable, and if this case is affirmed, then it would change that self-evident truth listed in the Declaration of Independence.
How do you think sovereignty was defined by the framers in the Declaration of Independence? And how did that definition differ from the traditional British concept or idea of sovereignty?
In the Constitution, it says the government derives their power from the consent of the governed, and this is the basis of John Locke's argument in the Second Treatise of Government, in which it is the people's sovereignty that gives the power to the government.
Additionally, through elections that we can see in Article 1, Section 2 and Article 1, Section 3 and the 17th Amendment, people participate in government and give their power to representatives that allow them to speak their minds and the views of their constituents in government. In a republican form of government, the colonists believed that sovereignty needed to be afforded to the people by a direct representative from the colonies in Parliament. However, the British agreed with the trustee form of representation, whereas people can have sovereignty over other people as long as they're looking out for the common good of Britain and all of its colonies.
Thank you. We're going to move on to the next question.
Why did members of the Continental Congress believe it was essential to write a formal Declaration of Independence?
They believed it was essential because following the Olive Branch Petition of 1775, they knew that the British would not redress their grievances, as cited in the Declaration of Independence. So they wrote the Declaration to both encourage the colonists and tell the British that they were officially declaring independence and going to create their own nation and government.
In addition, at that time, 1/3 of the people of the population were for revolution. 1/3 were uncertain, they were neutral, and 1/3 were against revolution. The Declaration of Independence also, in Thomas Paine's pamphlet, Common Sense, it unified the colonists together and to declare independence against Great Britain.
It also rallied the troops. When George Washington read aloud the Declaration of Independence to the troops of the Continental Army, it rallied them up and gave them support to the Union and gave us this boost that we needed for the war.
Thank you. We're going to move on to our next question.
In what respects, if any, has the Declaration of Independence continued to alter the course of history over time?
Directly after the American Revolution, Thomas Jefferson, who had just drafted the Declaration of Independence, went to France as an American ambassador, and he helped Lafayette write the Declaration of the Rights of Man and Citizen in 1789.
The Declaration then influenced the European colonies in Latin America and the Caribbean. In 1804, Haiti declared independence from France, and in 1811, Venezuela copied the last paragraph of the Declaration of Independence into their Declaración de la Sesión Legislativa.
In addition, in 1945, when World War II was over, the colony in Vietnam was under the French rule. Under Ho Chi Minh stated that the very first sentence of the Declaration, not the very first sentence, the Declaration of Independence, that all men are created equal.
Time. Thank you very much, panel. We enjoyed it very much. We're going to give you brief feedback.
I really enjoyed your presentations, your teamwork, your follow-ups, the in-depth pieces you did, as well as the conceptual pieces. I want to applaud you and your supporting mentors for the work that clearly has been done.
I appreciated the fact that you didn't filibuster on the questions, that you took 1 or 2 answers so we didn't have to interrupt you. I think that's a sign of confidence that I'm ready for the next question. The cut, I think, for me between teams is not what you came prepared for, but that which you were not prepared for. And the depth of your knowledge in the unprepared questions was impressive. And when you just do 1 or 2 people answering, you're saying, bring me another one, we got more, we got more. The filibuster says, oh my gosh, what if they ask us something we don't know? And I appreciated your confidence. You are the first team we've had where we got to all 6 questions. So while you addressed them all in depth, you guys talk so fast. I was like a Xerox commercial. As somebody, much older than you, I'm very appreciative of the time you've taken to learn the importance of history, which you really won't understand for another 40 or 50 years. But you guys have a great foundation, and you should be extremely proud of all the hard work you've done. You're an impressive team.
And I very much like how you blended with each other among the 6 of you. There were frankly some questions where you took some risks in answering them, and you always had somebody to pull it back to the question. When we got to the question about the list of grievances, for example, George, you gave a very specific example, jury trial, Magna Carta. You brought it back, Jonathan, to the whole train of reduces and the legal justification for revolution. The question, one of the questions, the third to last one, I thought actually 2 of you might be taking a risk by focusing on the Constitution rather than the Declaration, but then your third teammates started right back to the Declaration and put it all together. That's the way a team should work, and of course the Spanish. So we very much enjoyed it. Best of luck in the future. Thank you for your participation.
That was for you guys, not us. can talk now.
I left some papers here. Did someone want to get it?
Are they there? Are they on the table, on the desk?
No, it's not.
Okay, somebody must have taken it.